Freeze. Feel that tightness in your chest. That's not random anxiety, that's a leash. You didn't just scroll, you were trained. You watched David walk into a hurricane of applause, then into knives. Everyone argued about the scandal. Almost no one asked the only question that matters. What did that spectacle do to your mind? This isn't gossip, it's a mirror. If a crowd can build and break a singer in a week, imagine what a pocket-sized crowd is doing to you every hour. Listen carefully. If you need strangers to breathe, someone else owns your lungs. That's not poetry, that's circuitry. This is digital addiction, a dopamine loop engineered to hijack attention, amplify anxiety, and bury discipline under noise. Variable rewards, prediction errors, microspikes. Your nervous system loves the ambush. Sometimes you get the like, sometimes you don't. The uncertainty locks you in. 5 minutes dissolve into 50. Your goals turn to static behind glass. Pattern break. Mute the world for 1 second. Hear your breathing. That sound is what the algorithm tries to drown. It sells the illusion of connection while renting your focus by the minute. Classrooms, buses, bedrooms, the same bowed heads, the same flicker blue glow. Millions caught in the same ritual. Thumb, refresh, micro hit, crash. The crash feels like emptiness. It isn't. It's withdrawal. Here's the part you're not supposed to notice. Fame and obscurity run on the same drug, external validation. David had stages and headlines. You have a rectangle of glass. Different stage, same leash. The leash is invisible until it burns, and it burns quietly. Rising baseline stress, fragmented attention, a life measured in taps. Every morning you delay action, the grooves in your brain cut deeper. Every night you promise tomorrow, the loop tightens one more notch. Scarcity isn't out there. It's inside your attention budget. You're overspending. In 40 seconds, I'll give you a scientifically proven pattern, 2 sentences and 1 breath that starts to reclaim your focus without deleting your life. But first, tell yourself a hard truth. Your phone is not the problem. Your relationship with uncertainty is. The platform simply discovered your fear of being unseen and turned it into a product. That's why the silence after scrolling feels like drowning. That's why the applause feels like oxygen. That's why your identity thins out when the screen goes black. Another pattern break. Close your eyes. Imagine you're on stage, crowd roaring. Freeze the frame. Now kill the sound. Who are you without the echo? Don't answer yet. Let the question bite. Because the next minute decides whether you keep outsourcing your worth or start building it from inside. And before I show you the reset, measure yourself with a knife-edge question you can't dodge. If the applause stopped forever, would you still respect the person your phone has made you? Here's the reset I promised. 2 sentences and 1 breath. Say this out loud. I am not my notifications. For the next 20 minutes, my attention belongs to one task. Now inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold empty for 4. Again. That's box breathing. It doesn't erase your digital addiction, it cuts a door in the wall. Your heart slows, the amygdala quiets. The prefrontal cortex, your discipline center, comes back online. You're not fighting the dopamine loop with willpower. You're changing state. State first, then strategy. Pattern break. Drop your shoulders. Unclench your jaw. Feel that tiny pulse in your fingertips? That's the metronome the algorithm hijacked. Take it back. Here's your field test. Put the phone in another room, not on the desk, out of reach. Set a physical timer for 20 minutes. Choose one small, sharp task that moves your life forward. One email you're avoiding. One paragraph you need to write. One page you need to read. This is your keystone block. No tabs. No music with lyrics. No background noise. If the urge hits, breathe once through the square and say softly, "Not now." The moment you complete the block, stand up. Get sunlight on your face. Drink water. Reward the behavior, not the feed. That's habit rewiring through neuroplasticity. It's boring for the algorithm and perfect for your nervous system. If your hands itch to check, that's normal. You're not weak. You're withdrawing from uncertainty. The platform monetizes your fear of being unseen and sells it back to you as relief. Millions are trapped in the same ritual right now, head down in buses, classrooms, bedrooms, refresh, spike, crash, repeat. You're not alone in the cage. You're just one of the few testing the lock. Another pattern break. Look around your room and name 3 silent objects. chair, door, window. None of them need you, none of them judge you. Notice how quiet doesn't hurt when you give it a shape. Silence is not a void, it's a tool. In silence, your anxiety has nowhere to hide and your discipline has room to breathe. Why the urgency? Because every morning you delay this test, the loop deepens. Each delay adds one more thread to the leash around your attention. Today you either tighten it or cut a strand. There is no neutral. Scarcity is real. You get a finite number of clean mornings in a lifetime. Spend one on reclamation. Micro loop. When stress spikes later crowded train, bad news, a message that hooks your ego. How do you keep the door open instead of sprinting back to the cage? In the next minute, I'll give you an anti-trigger that flips anxiety into focus so fast it feels illegal. Hold that thought. Breathe once more. Not now. This is the anti-trigger. When stress spikes crowded train, sharp comment. The itch to check, don't fight the urge. Flip it. Step 1. Name it. Say quietly, this is the dopamine loop demanding relief. Step 2. Locate it. Where is it in your body, throat, chest, gut? Point at it with your finger. Step 3. Navigate it. Run one physiological square right now. Inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 4, hold 4. Then do one hard exhale through the mouth, long and slow. Your heart rate drops, your prefrontal cortex wakes up, and you get a tiny window to reclaim your focus. You didn't suppress anxiety, you transmuted it. That state control scientifically proven techniques borrowed from high-stress training, repurposed for the everyday battlefield of your attention. Add a second layer. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 scan. Name 5 things you see, 4 you feel, 3 you hear, 2 you smell, 1 you taste. It yanks your brain from the feed into the room. Presence kills panic. Panic feeds the platform. You just starved it. Pattern break. Ask yourself out loud, am I steering my mind or is the algorithm steering me? Don't rush the answer. Feel the weight of the question. Now, mechanics. Build an if-then shield. If I feel the urge to check, then I do 1 breath square and 1 5 4 3 2 1 scan. Write it on a sticky note. Put it where your thumb usually lands. The brain loves clarity. Vague intention loses to precise friction every time. Speaking of friction, make these hardware edits. Turn your screen to grayscale, delete badges, move every social app 2 screens deep, and leave only 1 icon in your dock, your Notes app. If your thumb arrives at a blank dock, the loop breaks. You just made distraction expensive and discipline cheap. Micro loop. What happens when the urge returns stronger mid-task and you feel that electric itch behind your eyes? Good, that's the next test. In 60 seconds, I'll show you a move that converts that itch into momentum so fast it feels like cheating. Until then, channel the current into deep work. Open a timer for 20 minutes and attack 1 tiny, scary action, the email you're avoiding, the paragraph you owe, the call that matters. Set a visible reward at the end, sunlight on your face, a stretch, a glass of cold water. Reward effort, not the feed. This is how you break free from anxiety without deleting your life. You're not escaping, you're training. Every rep lays myelin. Every rep says, I am not my notifications. I am what I repeatedly finish. Pattern break. Whisper this. Not now. Look at your hands. Are they reaching for a lever or building a life? One more thing for those who want to go deeper without noise. I've placed a short list of books in the description. Tight, tactical, no fluff to reinforce everything you're building here. Knowledge is leverage. Use it once. Keep it forever. Hold the question from a moment ago. How do you turn that electric itch into propulsion? Stay with me. The next minute hands you the ignition switch. Here's the ignition switch. That electric itch you feel when you resist checking isn't weakness, it's fuel. Most people collapse under it, but top performers weaponize it. The move is simple. When the urge spikes, redirect the energy into micro-action. 10 push-ups, 1 page of writing, 30 seconds of breath holds. You're not avoiding the loop, you're hijacking it. Each rep takes the craving's energy and reinvests it into creation. What used to enslave you now powers you. That's not motivation, it's transmutation. Pattern break. Stand up right now, shake your hands, and ask, what is the smallest thing I could finish in the next 2 minutes that proves I'm steering my mind? Do it. then return. You've just stolen power from the algorithm. Science confirms it. Studies on habit substitution show that redirecting urges into quick, embodied actions strengthens neural pathways faster than suppression. Suppression burns willpower. Substitution builds identity. Each time you perform the switch, you carve the message deeper. I am not a slave to dopamine, I am the architect of discipline, and that identity sticks. But let's widen the lens. Look around you. Millions are caught in the same ritual, eyes down, faces lit by glow, dopamine spikes followed by quiet despair. Psychologists already warn this is becoming the most widespread addiction in human history. By 2030, digital dependency is predicted to overtake substance abuse in sheer numbers. This is not just you, it's a plague. Every morning you delay the loop, you join the top 20%, those who own their mornings, instead of renting them to a screen. Ask yourself, are you comfortable being average in a world where average means addicted? Now the long game. The silence you've created isn't a void, it's space. Space for deep work, for strategy, for building. Here's the 3-step protocol again, tightened. Step 2, keystone block of focused work. Step 3, embodied reward. Stack it daily. After 30 days, you won't just feel different, you will be different. Neuroplasticity guarantees it. Identity isn't declared, it's rehearsed. And here's the twist. Boredom, the state you fear, becomes fertile. In boredom, the brain's default mode network lights up. This is where creativity hides. That's why ideas spark in the shower or on long walks. By refusing the feed, you reintroduce boredom. By reintroducing boredom, you unlock invention. The loop that used to enslave you now fuels originality. That's why this discipline isn't subtraction. It's replacement. You don't just quit the cage, you build the stage. Microloop. If you've cut the leash and built the stage, how do you make sure momentum doesn't collapse under pressure? That's the final piece. Hold the question, because in 60 seconds, I'll reveal how to protect this new identity from relapse, even when the world claws at you. Momentum is fragile. Most people break it because emptiness feels heavier than pain. The human brain hates a void. It will fill the silence with poison if you don't choose the fuel. That's why relapse happens not in weakness, but in absence. The algorithm waits for the gap and then slips back in. So here's the shield. You don't subtract, you replace. Subtraction creates void, replacement creates strength. Your replacement protocol is precise. Step 1, morning silence, box breath, 1 written line. Step 2, keystone block 30 minutes of uninterrupted focus on something that matters only to you. No tabs, no notifications, just one task. Step 3, reward it with something tactile: walk, sunlight, stretch, water. This is circuitry, not self-help. Each cycle lays down myelin, insulating the neural pathway of discipline. You're not inspiring yourself, you're training your nervous system to expect reward from creation, not from a screen. Pattern break. Right now, close your eyes and picture 2 futures. One where you repeat this protocol for a year, dozens of hours reclaimed, projects finished, a life you actually respect. Another where you stay chained, hours dissolved, attention stolen, a highlight reel curated for strangers who won't remember you. Which path are you secretly choosing? Here's the truth. By choosing the first path, you move into rare air. Over 80% of people check their phones within 5 minutes of waking. That means if you wait even 30 minutes, you're instantly in the top 20% of human focus. Not privilege, power. Every day you repeat it, the gap widens. A year from now, you won't just think differently, you'll be different. But remember, identity isn't declared, it's rehearsed. Each morning you practice, you become the kind of person who isn't owned by the feed. That's not affirmation, that's neuroplasticity. Habits carve self, and self carved by silence is a fortress. Microloop. What happens when the world pushes back, when someone close mocks your discipline, when deadlines pile, when pressure makes the cage look safer than freedom? Hold that question. In the next breath, I'll hand you the strategy that keeps the fortress standing, even when the outside world shakes the walls. Before we shift, write this in the comments to mark your turning point. I don't need the stage. Words typed become identity rehearsed. And if you want to go deeper, I've enlisted books in the description tools sharpened by science and story to reinforce everything you were building here. Knowledge multiplies effort. Use it. Now inhale once more, exhale slowly, because the final move isn't about silence, it's about resilience, the skill that ensures you never crawl back to the leash. And that's where we go next. Resilience is the final weapon. Silence gave you clarity. Focus gave you momentum. But resilience keeps you from crawling back when the world claws at your walls. Because make no mistake, the world will test you. Friends will mock the discipline. Notifications will seduce you. Deadlines will whisper, "Just check once." This is the relapse zone. But here's the truth. Relapse is not failure. Relapse is rehearsal. Every time you resist again, the fortress grows stronger. So here's the resilience protocol. Step 1. Anticipate triggers. Write down the 3 places you're most likely to collapse: the bed, the commute, the late-night scroll. Step 2. Preload replacements. If the trigger is bed, the replacement is book. If the trigger is commute, the replacement is breath or audio learning. If the trigger is late night, the replacement is journal reflection. Step 3. Declare the identity: I am not average. I am not addicted. I am trained. This isn't self-talk, it's cognitive priming. You tell your nervous system what role to step into. Pattern break. Whisper this right now. I am steering. Feel the vibration in your chest. That circuitry catching fire. Science backs it. Studies in behavioral neuroscience show that identity-based statements stick deeper than outcome goals. I'm trying to focus crumbles. I am disciplined endures. That's why you rehearse the words, not just the actions. Your brain anchors to identity faster than to desire. Now the cliff rises higher. You've built silence, focus, and resilience. But here's the secret the algorithm hopes you never discover. Once you master these 3, you no longer fear boredom. You no longer chase noise, you create noise. The world bends to your output instead of chaining you to its input. That's the top 1% of discipline, not talent, not luck, but engineering. Pattern break. Imagine the applause again. Loud, crushing. Now imagine walking off stage and not caring whether it comes back. That's freedom. That's what David never reached. But it's what you can. Now the last ignition: sleep. You've learned how silence sharpens focus. But what if I told you that the same science can compress rest? What if 4 hours of sleep could feel like 8, without drugs, without hacks, only biology? That's the door we open next. Not myth, not clickbait, pure science. And it will change everything. So type this before you leave. I don't chase applause, I build discipline. Seal the identity in public. Then click into the next video, because you're about to discover how to sleep less, wake sharper, and live in a state most people will never touch. You've reached the edge most never cross. You've cut the leash, built silence, carved focus, trained resilience. Now you stand where identity shifts into mastery. This is not inspiration, it's architecture. And architecture demands reinforcement. The final step is consolidation, locking the fortress so no storm outside can shake what has been built inside. Here's how you consolidate. First, ritualize the morning. Anchor your silence, breath, and one written line so deeply into routine that skipping feels unnatural. Second, track your keystone blocks, not digital trackers, pen and paper. Each mark proves to your brain that momentum exists. Third, declare progress publicly. One comment, one statement, one whispered line shared. I don't need the stage. Social proof isn't always poison, sometimes it is leverage when you use it to reinforce discipline instead of dependence. Pattern break. Look at your reflection right now. Do you see someone scrolling for relief or someone rewriting their circuitry? Hold the gaze. Choose which identity you're feeding. Science confirms this. Repetition plus reinforcement engraves behavior into long-term memory. What began as resistance becomes instinct. What felt like deprivation becomes preference. Neural pathways once hijacked by the algorithm now fire for creation. That's the switch. You're not escaping slavery, you're building sovereignty. Now widen the frame. Imagine a world where millions followed this path. Phones left in other rooms. Silence reclaimed. Attention invested in building, not begging. That's revolution. And revolutions don't start with crowds. They start with individuals who refuse the leash. That's you, right here, right now, micro-loop. What happens when even sleep becomes negotiable? When you realize biology itself can be engineered to serve focus. In the next video, you'll discover exactly that. How to sleep 4 hours and rise sharper than those who waste 8. Scientifically grounded, counterintuitive, explosive. The truth the mainstream ignores because it shatters comfort. So breathe once more, type your declaration in the comments. Rehearse the identity until it feels like bone. And then take the leap into the next chapter, because this story doesn't end with silence. It ends with mastery over body, mind, and time.